according to the 20-year study that Harvard did, that the number one leading factor of our happiness is connections.
Yeah.
Hey there. Welcome to Top of Mind. Real talk for today's woman. With Anna and Karen.
The things that come up for us, the joys, the struggles, everything in between, the things that kind of make you go, So one of the things I'm going to start off with, and it goes back to one of our topics last month and the month before, which is about me getting friends. It's about me finding a tribe. So I just went to a business weekend away. I had booked this many months ago, and I spent the whole time not really talking as much about my business as about how to get my tribe. What does that look like? And going back to, Annie, got me the last time and said, "What are you gonna do?" And one of the things, so I'm kind of reporting, but one of the things that kind of shocked me too was I got up off my ass and went out to some stuff.
Okay, good.
And so I went to a couple of in-person meetings. I went to networking. It's not really a network. I don't consider it a networking thing. It's a thing where I go with the people that I want to be in the rooms with, some giants type of stuff, and hang out in that atmosphere and with them and listen to them. So, and what I couldn't believe was within 2 weeks, I felt fantastic.
Mm.
That funk that I had felt, that feeling of being alone, not knowing where my tribe was. Now, that was gone. Now, if you ask me, did I find, my best friend and my soul's, this type of stuff, somebody I'm phoning, 3 times a week, and we go out for dinner and have a girls' night? No.
Mm-hmm.
But just that not feeling alone anymore left me. And it's funny because, as much as I feel I connect with people on the screen and on telephone, that wasn't my experience when it was in person. Like, it really did make a huge difference for me. And here's the interesting thing is I had to look at my notes today because I wrote a note, like I've been keeping track of things I want to talk about on our show,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I put that down, and here we are. It was a good reminder because this week I blew everything off again.
Interesting.
I had been away for the weekend. I'm tired out from people. And it's kind of like, and I don't know if you do this, everything that I do that makes me feel good or that is good for me, somehow I stop doing once I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, how do we
So
stick to those habits? Sorry, go
let's back up, okay? Because I want the juicy details.
ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna
Yep.
break it down. You went to a business weekend.
Yep.
What just overview? You don't have to give specifics, but what was the agenda? Like, what was this kind of little retreat about?
The retreat was to take a look at your business and where you wanted it to go and how to
Okay.
grow it over the next 6 months. Basically, that's kind of it. Why I joined 6 months ago was not for that. It's because it's a Toronto-based group that put it on and everything, and I just wanted to find some other entrepreneurs that are in the Toronto area and kind of see how that went, how that mixed.
Okay. Now let's move to the next event where you said you went into some on like you went into in person. Like, what
Yes.
were those events? Tell me.
So
Were they
those
all
were
women?
those,
Like, details. Come on.
okay.
Spare
So
none.
so so those were actually Alcoholic Anonymous meetings, which I hadn't been to,
Good.
since
I'm proud of
before the
you.
meeting.
Yep.
So I went to a couple, checking them out and things like that. And interesting, and it has changed tremendously. I've changed too, but COVID
Hmm.
has changed it. But it certainly felt different being in person and being able to hug somebody and feeling that energy than it is. I mean, truthfully, I've gone into meetings. I don't know if other people do this where, maybe have my camera on, maybe not. I'm half-assed paying attention because I might be doing dinner at the same time.
Hmm.
How really attentive am I? And I'm not.
I'm going to interrupt you because I have to tell you, because I think about something that you told me. And
Okay.
you said that sometimes you've gotten away from AA because you feel like you're the mentor and everybody looks to you, which to me sounded like an excuse. I'll be honest. I get it.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, hey, I told you. So then you went in person, but you experienced something different than what you had conceived in your mind
Yeah.
or what it had evolved to in your mind.
Yeah.
Correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and maybe I misrepresented it. It wasn't that I'd stopped growing. What it was I became the expert because when
No, that's what you said. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. And in
Yeah.
doing so, there's a fine line between egotism and humbleness.
Mm,
And for sobriety, I have to be, they're not actually connected, but for me, there's a fine line. If my ego gets too big, it can bring me closer to the drink. I have to be very careful about that. I have to work on having a humble servant type of attitude. And it's kind of hard when everybody defers to you. It's kind of
right.
like, oh, we're deciding a business thing. It's like it's not, you're the deciding vote, like that you have the experience in that.
Right.
So that's great when you're at work,
Hmm.
but not when you're in recovery.
Well, because, yes, you could be like the grasshopper, the one given the guidance. I think that's the grasshopper. Is the grasshopper the student? I don't remember.
We
So
mess everything up.
yeah,
People tell us.
yeah. What's
Please.
new, right? Screw it up. Um, so I completely get that sometimes you want to be the student,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
versus the master or the teacher.
Yeah.
You want to, and this is where I'm proud of you because, and I say this a lot, like you went back to AA with the beginner's mind,
Yeah.
and I'm so proud of you for that. So, okay.
Yeah.
Now let's move
Yeah.
on to the next networking thing that you did. What with any other ones?
Well, the other
Because you
ones
said
that
about the people like people you admire or like or not.
yeah, so it's an entrepreneurship, and what was kind of neat is we have a bit of an exclusive type of club in Toronto for women business owners, and I
Mhm.
had wanted to be part of that, to be in it, and never got near it, and then all of a sudden they had an event there that I was invited to
Mhm.
by one of the people in this group, and it's like, oh, cool, I get to check out the club and that. So, since then I've kind of decided, nah, it's not my flavor.
I'm with
Why
you.
was I after
Okay.
it? This type of stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, so it was being in this room, being invited into the room, going and having a nice dinner chat and just meeting other women that have really been what I consider quite successful.
Mhm.
They're incorporated in their businesses. They run them very well. Most of them have been in for quite a while. Now there are some new people like myself kind of going, some that are still just starting, because this is all about learning how to build wealth and how to expand upon that.
Okay.
It's specifically wealth building, and there's different ways to do it, but this is mostly entrepreneurship, and that's how the woman knows how to teach. So, how she did it and how she did it for men, and the idea now is to do it for women.
Okay. So it's fair to say that you experienced the number one cause of happiness, which is we talked about that at Harvard study, which is connection.
Right. Yes.
And you're right. There is a difference between, connecting in person versus online. Because, like I kind of have pulled away from my networking for right now to for different reasons. But I'm very connected to like my sports teams and the ladies on my teams. And so my connections are still in person, but different. Um, but that's pretty much what you did. I mean,
Yeah.
that's according to the 20-year study that Harvard did, that the number one leading factor of our happiness is connections.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of
Yes.
you. Wow, that's
Thank you.
quite a different report from October's.
Yeah. No more reports after this.
You're not getting off that easy. And then, I don't know how we are on time for this one, but then you brought up the second point, which is kind of interesting, is why do we lack stick to itness?
Yes.
Even when we know it's good for us. Like for instance, I'll bring up Franny, because we had our weekend away this weekend, and Franny she accepted our challenge for grounding,
Cool.
and she was doing the grounding, and then she said I stopped doing it for like 3 days, and honestly, I felt like shit, so I went back to doing it. but that's the hardest thing. Like we want to talk about goals. Like I'm going to actually do it. I'm rolling out a new program in January. I don't want to talk about that right now, but we will. We talk about goals, and in my opinion, we do it bass backwards because it's not about goals. You know, goals are great, they're lofty, but it's about the daily actions. Because you can set a goal, but unless you're setting yourself up daily with the actions that you need to take, goals are lofty. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of what you're saying is why am I not doing what made me feel so good?
And we do that in all sorts of different ways. You start working out in the morning and you start to feel good, and then you stop doing it, or like whatever those habits are. And it's
Mhm.
almost like a denial. There's a denial that something's wrong, or that I need to do something in order to feel this way. Whether it's to feel healthier, to have better joints, whether it's being in red light and you feel better for a few days and you stop doing it. I see it quite a bit in mental health, right? That's one of the anti-anxiety or the antidepressants, feeling great and everything like that. Then what happens is you start to feel great, they take them off them, and then people bottom out. And it's like, well, why? We
Mhm.
resist. It's like a resistance to what's good for us.
Mhm.
And a denial, somehow there's something wrong with me if I require these things.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you're right. That is a huge topic in and of itself. I know I'd like to do a little bit of study before I actually introduce it as something for us to talk about. I kind of feel that you'd be the same way. Want to get some data behind this as to to provide us some legitimacy before I start talking too much out of the side of my mouth.
Right.
So
No, I'm with you. But
okay,
yeah, I mean, that was
yeah,
just because you said why do we not do this? I mean,
yes,
I can tell you off the cuff why I think because our
yeah,
bias is to negativity,
yep, absolutely.
but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot
Yep.
more, you know,
So I
information in there.
think that I might write that down as something for the future.
Yep.
So our negative bias, stop doing
Yep.
things. Okay, I think we're at the end of this time. So just to say thank you for joining us today. I am Karen Vale. I am a confidence and mindset coach, and I am with.
I am Anna Jennings and I'm a midlife mentor. See you
Great.
next round, peeps.
Thank you.